Bienvenido a mi oficina. Come on in. So, end of February, once again, progress report. This is going to be a lot shorter than the other one because honestly, yeah. So, basically, I guess I treated this mentally. I didn't want to treat this month like a refresher, renew year, relax kind of month. But my body was just like, yeah, we're going to treat this like a refresher, renewal year kind of month. So, I guess January was, just a time for me to list my goals and, relax my mind, be present, and really prepare for what this year will be and what will come for this year. So yeah, like I said, it'll be a shorter video than the last ones. So basically, so far I've been probably consistent on one thing, which is my vocal health. I've been really keeping track of like how I upkeep it. So I've been taking like throat coat tea. I've kind of inputted that into my regime, as well as warming up. I've done different warm-ups these days. I'm working on doing like Arabic scales because I think that'll be kind of fun and more challenging for what my vocal journey would be like. So I've been doing that consistently more than anything else, which is, I guess, a good sign. A win is a win. But as far as other stuff, I've kind of been a little laggy because what's new? If you don't know, it's winter here in Nashville, and like I said, the weather really contributes to your energy. I do not have the energy, but I've been trying my best day by day. I did go out of power for like almost a day. Thankfully it came back, but yeah, that's really been an obstacle for me in terms of like really being proactive and doing things. I still have been collaborating with people. It's just the output has not been as up there as the networking, and I want those to match. So me reaching out to do collabs is up there. We need the output to be just as much up there. I've done more TikTok reviews. Well, not I've done it, but I've submitted my song for more TikTok reviews, and I kind of like that they're more critical than the first song. One, for obvious reasons, because I know like maybe my request for how I wanted the song to be was a little imbalanced. And I guess something else that some critiques pointed out was like, if you're recording on a software and not a hardware, and by that I guess they mean software being like BandLab versus hardware being like an actual DAW like FL Studios or Logic, then it's not really going to be as effective, which I think probably contributed to the way the mix and mastering process affected the output, in addition to how I wanted it to sound. So that was like one of the biggest critiques too. If you've heard Tom, I don't know if I'm gonna actually like do what other artists do, which is not really a big deal, but like re-record it and then replace the former recording with the new recording. So if you heard Tom in its previous form, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't and you're hearing it in its new form, then you missed out. But well, you're not missing out basically, because the sound is a little imbalanced, like I said. But progress, again, only my second release, and like I said, I have more critiques on it. I like that some of these critics are basically like really dissecting it at face value. Like when you critique or when you send your songs for critiques, you really don't know what you're gonna get, especially when people have different music tastes. Not a lot of people are like R&B centered, which is like, it's not really hard for me to digest. It's like, if you don't like it, you don't like it, that's okay. A lot of people are really like production based and they think about certain things. There's a part where some critics were like, for the first song, because I submitted both of my songs a few times to some critics. Unfortunately, I think 1 or 2 of them were able to actually get through to both of my songs. So I know like with the first release, a lot of like production based critics were like, dang, I wish you would have had like a drop here or like some drums or something would have been dope. But it's kind of nice to get that idea of what music sounds like to them, so that way I can incorporate that more into future music that I do. So I've been getting a lot more critical opinions, which I'm not mad at. Like I said, we're gonna apply them to the next one. Speaking of that, which I recently just had, I kind of had this conversation with my mom and my godmother. I literally just took them to the airport. So they were asking me, my mom was like, I wonder, like, from your first song to your second song, it was completely opposite sides of the spectrum. Like, he was one talking about, you know, did you go through a breakup? Was somebody like, you know, putting you through something? And then the next song is obviously something like either y'all made up or you got somebody new. Like, how did this come about? So I explained to her basically that I was just really like, well, for one, I'm putting out songs that are complete. So out of all my ideas, I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous video, but like I have a bunch of notes. I have a music folder and they have 3 different tabs. One of them is like for songs that are like, at least got a verse or something in there, like some type of structure. And then another tab is like from random lyrics. So if something random comes up in my head, like a melody or like a line or a bar or whatever, I just put it in there for future reference. And then the third tab is for concepts. So like if I have a theme or a concept that I want to write about, or that I want to put in the music, then I'll write that down. And Tom came about like that because I basically had a concept folder full of, I don't know if I should be spoiling this like this, but whatever. I had a concept folder full of abbreviated titles, and Tom was like one of them. I don't know if I should spoil them all. So, okay, I'm gonna just give random words. Like if you made abbreviations out of Tom or kiss or sit or lap, whatever word, like I was just coming up with like what title can I make out of this one word to make an abbreviation. And it's not always an actual word. It can usually be like another abbreviation. Like I didn't want to use something common like TMI, but something that wouldn't make sense if you put the letters together and making a new one, like obviously SOS or FBI, something like that. Things that are put together that actually mean something. I included those as well. But anyway, there was a whole list of that I still have on my phone. And I had my friend over one day and I was like, okay, I want to write today because it was my time to write. And I was like, just pick a title and then I'll write about it. So she picked Tom and I just started writing about Tom. And then I ended up finishing that song, and then I found a beat with that song, and that's basically why it came right after the second song, because that was like my other completed song that I wrote about. So that's basically what it is. But with that being said, I do want to focus more on up-tempo music, and I don't know if I mentioned this in another video too, but being that I've been heavily inspired by K-pop and kind of like their structure regarding the kind of genre-less in like world that they're in, I want to find my place in that as well. So I don't want to be, again, just labeled an R&B artist. And especially for a person of color, it's really hard. As a person of color and as an American artist, it's really hard for the American consumers to digest you in any other genre when you're introduced to the world. So that's so weird. I really feel like, is this deja vu? I feel like I said this in another video. Anyways, I'm gonna say it again. I feel like for K-pop artists especially, or we can only use them as an example. I was gonna say Bollywood, but they stick to one genre for the most part. But for K-pop artists, for some reason, like audiences, whether Asian consumers or international consumers, they do a very, very good job, or there's just some type of like exchange to where it's easily digestible for those K-pop artists to explore different genres and different sounds without having to be boxed in to say this is the only sound that we're making. Granted, like they're categorized generally as K-pop, but you hear a lot of hip hop, you hear a lot of Latin influences, you hear a lot of R&B influence, you hear a lot of that. So why can't consumers digest that same way for American artists? If I'm introduced as an R&B artist, I don't want to stay in R&B. And like I said, I know for sure now that I said it in another video, but with Beyonce and how she, you know, yes, she's been doing R&B all her life, but like now getting into doing country and then doing kind of like dance hallish music before that, I feel like it's kind of hard for consumers to say, oh, you're doing this sound now. Maybe it depends on how long you've been in the business. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I don't know, especially for people of color, like it's so hard for consumers to just listen to good music no matter what genre it is. But for other artists, they can easily bend into different genres and be accepted that way. So basically, reeling it back in to me, I want to just start my foundation off with that exploration of sound and not having to be boxed in. Obviously, I want to do it in a great capacity to where it's quality music, not just pumping stuff out that's mediocre. I want to hone that skill and work on things. And I think I'm pretty good at, or at least capable at, successfully making songs in different genres. And the thing that I'm working on now is making it fit me as an artist, because I think I can fit it as a songwriter. You know, when you write, a lot of artists or a lot of songwriters can write for multiple genres. You know, you have gospel artists who's written songs in different genres. You have country artists or pop artists who's written for songs in different genres. So I don't think that's really the big idea or the big deal, but I think just it becoming a part of your brand, it becoming a part of your identity as an artist and how you present that to consumers is the tricky part. So that's the puzzle piece that I want to get to. And it's more so like me kind of morphing into that being of that genre, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I discussed this before, but I feel like I want my brand to be something of like characters, like how different artists have eras when it comes to, you know, album drops, and like when they have like, you know, this era of music, it feels like they have this certain theme, and sometimes that can be like a character. A good example is, again, K-pop. Like within Hypen, they recently dropped their last project. I don't know what it's called because I just started listening to it, but you know, they have this whole vampire thing going on, but you can clearly like tell the different eras that they have. And I kind of want that to be a part of my brand in terms of character. Like, I am Deshawn the artist, but different parts of my music and the eras of my life is characters of me, or even just in general as an artist. Like, it doesn't have to be when this music drops and when this music drops, like overall, where the different environments bring out a different part of me. That's basically what I want the cohesiveness to be about me. So that way I'm not bound to being in this one part of music or this one part of music. Like, I'm able to be fluid in playing this part because of this character and this environment that I build, so people can see me in those different forms, if that makes sense. That was a lot, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, hopefully I do a great job at showing you better than I tell you. We'll see. So yeah, and lastly, like I said, because this video is not gonna be that long, my goals for this year. I think I discussed my goals from last year and how much I accomplished, and I've written my goals recently for this year. This is like the first time it's been longer than like, I think I've like written maybe seven goals max before, like the past couple years, and this almost doubled that this year. So I'm pretty excited. I think that says a lot, that I'm really like trying to work on accomplishing the things that I write and being more present and aware of them. So yeah, a couple of my music related goals are to release 3 songs from my catalog, because I know in my last year's goals I just said 3 songs, but I wasn't specific. I did a collab, and that kind of counted, but I want to release 3 more songs under my catalog. But another option under that is kind of like a slash and or hopefully release a 5-song EP for my catalog. So that's what I really want to get. That's the number 1. But if I can't get to that, 3 songs seems reasonable. Another one, which might be a long shot, but hey, dream big, put in the work, and you might get it. The world may surprise you. My other music goal is to get a song playlisted on a major DSP. So that will be interesting. I'm excited to see. Like I said, I'm dreaming a little big here. And one part of me is like, you just started. It might be a little too soon to start jumping the gun. But another part of me is like saying, girl, the water's your oyster. Do what you got to do. Like, if you put in the work, you work on building your fan base, you attract people who are part of your community, it can happen. You never know. So those are like my 2 music related ones. And then some other ones are just personal, just like regular stuff in my life that'll help me. I don't want to say be a better person, but like just help me get through life. I don't know. Stuff like doing stuff on my bucket list, or I have this funny one, which is like I want to clear some of my watch later list on YouTube, because I'm on YouTube a lot, and I have like, I think before I wrote this down, like before the end of 2026, I probably had almost 3,000 videos on my watch later from like probably since I had YouTube, maybe like 2014 or something. So now I'm trying to get it down to at least 1,500 or less, which I think is possible. And so far I've been getting through some watch laters. Granted, I keep adding stuff. That's probably what's like not seeing progress, but I'm down to like a little under 20, somewhere in the 2,500 range. So I think by the end of this year I can get that down. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. I'm really want to be locked in more than I have been, more than last year at least. I really want to lock down in on this music stuff. I have a potential music related opportunity that I don't want to speak about just yet because we haven't even had the meeting yet, but we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I can explain in detail after it happens. I think that'll be best. But yeah, that's my progress today. Not the best that I would like to have, but hopefully by next month we have some kind of wheel moving along. So, but this is also a reminder, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You have, I have my goals down. I have a vision. And even if it may not go exactly the way I'm envisioning it, if I'm doing my part and getting towards that goal, I'm doing enough already. So, aiming big, working hard, and staying consistent. If you're persistent, you'll get it. If you're consistent, you'll keep it. And that's what I'm going to focus on for this next month. So, with all that being said, that's it. If you watch this video again, thank you for all the way to the end. And I hope your journey is smoother than mine. I hope you have some goals for this year. If you don't, that's fine too. No pressure. Live your life. Go through life however you wish. This is your world, and everybody's in charge of their own story. So I'll see you next month.